Do the
Hello, everyone. This is Professor Forney right now. I'm off camera. And the woman you're seeing is Ms. ConnieSterling, who is the library manager at Palomar College. And she has been with Palomar 8 years nearly,
6, almost 7.
almost 7. Okay, see, it seems longer to me because we're having fun. So she is going to talk to you today a little bit about some of the issues pertaining to hiring because Ms. Sterling has responsibility for hiring permanent and hourly staff for the 4 locations at Palomar. And I sent you the blurb. She's had several library positions. She worked in an elementary school library as a media specialist. She's worked in public libraries and also as a college reference librarian. So she has that expertise. She has her MLS. She is currently working in an administrative function at Palomar, but she's been an adjunct in several locations and even at Palomar. So she is well familiar with all the aspects of library service. And I'm going to just jump start here with a couple of questions. This is a recorded session, so you won't be able to have any questions live. But if you email me something, or we'll give you some contact details for her if you're interested. So some of our questions would be, how do you think it is that people, what's the best way to find out about who's hiring?
Well, I think here at Palomar, I would encourage all students in the LIT program to explore the LIT website. There is a wealth of information for jobs that are currently listed or posted around the county and around the state. I'd recommend that if you are interested in working in K through 12 environments, such as an elementary school, middle school, or high school, to look at EdJoin. All of those types of jobs are listed on EdJoin. And I would also recommend taking a look at ALA's website or the California School Library Association website as well. I also want to point out that we also have a Facebook, the LIT program has a Facebook page that also includes current job listings around the county.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And later on in the semester, we'll be having you actually access some of those resources to create a sample resume and letter of application. So, one of the things that often comes up when people are thinking about interviewing, they ask, how do you stand out against the competition? Because for every job, there might be 20 to 200 applicants. So, what would you advise?
That's right. There's a lot of competition out there. So my recommendation, if you would like to stand out from that herd or that crowd, is think about some volunteer opportunities. Take a look at the libraries that are near you and look at some volunteering opportunities. Also take a look at some internship opportunities if those are available as well. Part-time jobs are also available and they could get your foot in the door, so to speak.
And sometimes with the online application, people run into trouble. It's a little uncomfortable, it's unfamiliar. Every organization has its own format how they do this. So, any thoughts about when you're dealing with those online applications?
Yes, yes. I think the thing that stands out for me, and as I review applications for candidates, the one thing that I would highly recommend is that you read the job announcements very carefully. Pay attention to the keywords in those announcements so that when you craft your resume or your cover letter, you want to be sure that you are addressing the skills and the experience that they are looking for. So you need to prove that you have relatable experience and skills for those jobs. And the more you pack into your resume and cover letter that proves that you are a viable candidate, the more chances you have of getting the interview.
Well, thank you. That's really helpful. Um, Sometimes you get called back to go further in an application depending on the interview process at a particular library, because some libraries interview you once and then you either get the job or you don't. But quite a few have at least two tiers of interviewing. There's an initial interview, and then they might call you back because they're looking at maybe two or three people more closely. So, what thoughts do you have about that when you get that call back? I
Um,
mean, for you, what do you look for when you're thinking, oh, I have these three candidates? How do you make the difference between them?
I think what is going to help a candidate stand out from another candidate would be that they've done their homework, that they have researched. So if they're applying here at Palomar, that they've done their homework and taken a look at Palomar College's website, that they've thoroughly researched, what we offer here, and that they have, like I said before, relatable experience.
So, what we offer in terms of the college, what about it at the library? Because
Yes,
we're a
yes,
unique part of the
we
college.
certainly are. Yes. So those are the people who would be really paying attention to our library website so that they are familiar with our programs and our policies and procedures here.
Yeah. Well, I think to wrap up is, what do you think in terms of, you've worked at various institutions, and what do you think is most important for a library technician, no matter the type of library? What's most important for them to succeed in their employment?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is team player. If you can demonstrate that you're a team player, that you know that it's the whole group is collaborating together to get the work done, you will be a winner.
Wow. And sometimes people have that mythology of those who work in libraries love to read, and yet most of those of us who are in the libraries know that there's not much time for reading.
No,
There's so many tasks, but in
right.
terms of things like the most important issues that happen in library settings,
Hmm.
because they're the strengths and the weaknesses. So, what do you think is most important in terms of actually being in the space? Let's say if you're on a public service desk.
Ah, yes. Well, that's when we want to really focus on our students or our patrons. So you really need to be somebody who really has a good grasp on good public service to our, because they come first. Our patrons come first.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I know people talk about, well, public services versus technical services. Are there opportunities in both, or, how do I get my foot in the door?
That's a really good question. I've worked with a number of our part-time help here. They're aiming to get full-time positions, and they will come to me and say, "Gosh, I've got a lot of experience in public services, but I'd like to have more experience in technical services." And so I make arrangements for them to work with the full-time staff in technical services so that they can get that experience. So that would be my recommendation to folks who are trying to get experience in both public and technical services.
Oh, thank you so much, Connie. And
You're
Miss
welcome.
Sterling is a face that you see on the first floor at the San Marcos facility, but she goes to all the central libraries to connect with the library technicians who operate at those locations. And in addition to that, she works very closely with all the library faculty. And she could easily be a faculty member since she has her MLS. In this given role, that's not what she's doing, but she is familiar with all the things that go into collaborating amongst technicians and librarians. So even though it may seem like, oh, well, they're the librarian, I know that when working with our technicians and our hourly staff um, personally, that they are highly competent. And we know that in school libraries, technicians are the librarians.
Yes.
Therefore, working with someone like Miss Sterling, if you have an opportunity and want to volunteer and you want to perhaps see if there are positions for hourly openings, she's the one to connect with here at the college.
Yep.
We have a process for LIT for internships working with Miss Weintraub, Professor Weintraub, and Ms.
Doyle
Bauer, who is the Escondido Center librarian, but is our on-site library coordinator, or I forget the exact term. If you are doing an internship at one of the Palomar College locations, she will be the one to kind of mentor you along,
Right.
even though Ms. Sterling would be the one to task you to work with a specific technician or at a specific location. So please make sure to connect with her if you would be interested in one of those options. But there's no guarantee there's an opening. Connie, anything else you could think of to say to our LT100 students?
No, I can't think of anything else I would add, except to just re-emphasize that just explore. A lot of technicians, or a lot of people who are seeking to be a technician, will come and talk to me, and very often I find out they're not sure what they like about the library yet. So this, I would definitely encourage you to explore, get out there, find some libraries to volunteer with. You may find out that you prefer school libraries. You may find out that you prefer public. But you won't know that unless you get out there and try to get some experience, like maybe even with volunteering.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're
This
welcome.
was really wonderful. And this is why the discussion board was saying that it would feature a surprise guest. Thank you again.
Thank you, Marlene. Have a great
Bye-bye.
day.